Imagine a pharaoh, right? Almighty and powerful, sailing through the afterlife in style. Now imagine this pharaoh taking a wrong turn and ending up lost. Not exactly what you'd expect, huh? Well, that's kind of what happened, at least metaphorically, to one very unlucky, or maybe lucky pharaoh. See, we found him, or rather his mummy, in a place nobody expected. No majestic pyramid, no hidden tomb guarded by riddles and traps. This pharaoh was chilling, literally, in a simple tomb, hidden in plain sight. Talk about an awkward afterlife. This wasn't your typical scientists discover ancient wonder kind of story. Oh no, this was way more interesting. This was the story of Ahmed and his donkey, a dust storm that would put a sandblaster to shame, and a whole lot of luck. So buckle up, my friends. We're about to go on a journey to the heart of Egypt, where history is always full of surprises, and sometimes the biggest discoveries are made by the most unexpected people. Now let me introduce you to our hero, Ahmed. No, he wasn't a famous archaeologist, nor a treasure hunter with a whip and fedora. Ahmed was a simple man, living a simple life in a small village near the Valley of the Kings. His days were filled with tending to his goats, mending his robes, and avoiding his wife's cooking. Just kidding, Egyptian wives are amazing cooks. Ahmed, you see, had a knack for finding things. Lost goats, misplaced sandals, you name it, Ahmed could find it. Little did he know this talent was about to land him in the middle of an adventure bigger than his wildest dreams, or maybe nightmares, considering how things started. One scorching hot day, Ahmed was out with his trusty donkey, Habib. Habib, let me tell you, was a stubborn creature with a mind of his own, always veering off the path. Usually it was to munch on some particularly delicious-looking weeds, but this time, Habib had other plans. As I said, Egypt can get a tad dusty. And when I say dusty, I mean the kind of dust storms that would make a camel wear goggles. On this particular day, a sandstorm of epic proportions swept across the desert, turning day into night. Ahmed, caught in the swirling chaos, clung to Habib for dear life. Now, Habib, bless his stubborn heart, decided this was the perfect time for a detour. He bolted off the familiar path, dragging a protesting Ahmed through the blinding dust. They stumbled and slid, the wind howling like a furious djinn. Finally, Habib, exhausted and probably a little sandblasted himself, came to a halt. As the dust settled and Ahmed regained his bearings, and probably tried to remove half the Sahara from his ears, he realized something strange. They were in a part of the desert he'd never seen before, and right in front of them was an opening in the ground. It looked like a tomb. Now I know what you're thinking, mummy, tomb, spooky opening in the ground, this screams ancient curse, right? Well, thankfully for Ahmed and this story, Hollywood hasn't quite gotten Egypt right. No, there were no vengeful spirits, no collapsing ceilings, and definitely no scarab beetles attacking people's faces. The tomb entrance was surprisingly simple, almost crudely hidden. It was as if someone had just dug a hole, stashed something valuable inside, and then covered it up in a hurry. Curiosity, that age-old human trait, got the better of Ahmed. Besides, what else was he going to do in the middle of the desert while waiting for the sandstorm to die down? With a hesitant Yalla Habib, that's "let's go" in Arabic for you non-camel whisperers, Ahmed coaxed the donkey towards the opening. Peering into the darkness, he saw stairs leading down into the earth. Taking a deep breath and muttering a quick prayer just in case, Ahmed began his descent into the unknown. The tomb wasn't grand or opulent like the ones we usually find. No glittering gold, no walls covered in hieroglyphics, just simple, undecorated chambers. It was clear that whoever was buried here was laid to rest in a hurry, without the usual fanfare given to pharaohs. In the center of the largest chamber lay a sarcophagus, its surface cracked and worn by time. The air was thick with the smell of dust and something ancient, almost sweet. Ahmed, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement, approached the sarcophagus cautiously. He knew he shouldn't touch anything, but the urge to peek inside was too strong to resist. With trembling hands, he pushed open the heavy lid, and there, shrouded in linen bandages, lay the mummified remains of a pharaoh. Now this is where I, the expert, come in. News of Ahmed's discovery spread faster than a chariot race, reaching my ears in Cairo. I rushed to the site, more excited than a camel at an oasis. Examining the mummy and the few artifacts found in the tomb, we were able to piece together the story of this forgotten pharaoh. He was, it turned out, a relatively unknown ruler from the late 18th dynasty. a time of great upheaval and change in Egypt. His reign was short and likely marked by conflict, which explained the hasty burial and lack of grandeur. From the position of the mummy and the amulets buried with him, we could tell he was a devout follower of the god Amun. We even found a scroll tucked next to him, containing hymns and prayers dedicated to Amun-Re, the king of the gods. As you can imagine, the discovery caused quite a stir. Newspapers around the world splashed the story on their front pages. Everyone wanted a glimpse of the accidental mummy and the humble donkey who'd led us to it. Ahmed, usually a quiet and unassuming man, was suddenly thrust into the spotlight. He handled the attention with his usual good humor, even teaching a few reporters how to ride a donkey. Let's just say it didn't end well for some of them. Of course, the discovery also meant a lot of paperwork, research, and endless cups of strong, sweet Egyptian tea, and maybe a few too many pieces of baklava. But hey, that's all part of the job when you're dealing with pharaohs. Despite all we learned, some mysteries remain. Why was this pharaoh buried so far from the royal tombs in the Valley of the Kings? Who were his enemies? And what exactly happened during his brief reign? These are questions we're still trying to answer, piecing together the puzzle of the past one ancient clue at a time. The discovery of this pharaoh's mummy, hidden in plain sight, reminds us that history is full of surprises. It also teaches us that sometimes the most important discoveries are made not by those who seek them, but by those who stumble upon them, often in the most unexpected ways. Now, before you all grab your shovels and head to Egypt, hoping to uncover the next great archaeological treasure, let me give you a word of advice. Leave it to the professionals. Archaeology is a delicate and complex field, and disturbing ancient sites can do more harm than good. Besides, Egypt is already an open-air museum with wonders waiting to be discovered around every corner. From the majestic pyramids of Giza to the awe-inspiring temples of Luxor, you'll be amazed by the sheer amount of history this country holds. So, the next time you're feeling adventurous, book a trip to Egypt. Walk in the footsteps of pharaohs, marvel at ancient monuments, and who knows, you might even stumble upon a lost piece of history yourself. Just remember, no matter where you go in Egypt, you're walking on history. So tread carefully and enjoy the journey. And if you see a donkey named Habib, tell him Zahi says hello.